realized the balloon was rising at a slower rate than with a little bit of margin built in just in case.
Alright, so we've got this.
Need to go all the way to the top and straight to outer space. And we need to go all the way to the top and straight to outer space. And when I started on this journey 3 years ago, I knew if I could draw on my experience of landing stuff on other planets, I would be guaranteed the record. But what I didn't know is this would be the most physically, financially, and mentally draining video I would ever attempt. But first, let me just explain what I was thinking. The plan was to clamp an egg to the front of a rocket, then attach that rocket to a weather balloon and take it up to space. Once there, the weather balloon would release it, and just by using gravity only, the rocket would eventually accelerate past Mach 1, breaking the speed of sound, and then it would autonomously adjust the 4 fins on the back to steer itself to the target location, and then at 300 feet above the ground, it would release the egg, which would free fall onto a mattress that we'd placed on the ground. And that all seemed pretty straightforward. So like any good engineers would, we broke the problem down into smaller steps, starting first with calculating the terminal velocity of an egg. And by terminal velocity, I mean that any object, including humans, have a maximum speed at which they fall once the force of Earth pulling you towards it balances with the pushback force from bumping into more and more air molecules as you start to fall faster. For humans, that max speed is about 120 miles per hour, and after doing some simple math for an egg, it tops out at 75 miles per hour. So to make sure the egg wouldn't break if we dropped it onto a mattress at its terminal velocity, we ran our first test. And since we couldn't find a tall enough building whose lawyers would agree to let us hurl an egg off the side and onto a mattress, we had to improvise a bit.
83.
Yes! Check the egg. No cracks. So our mattress will protect an egg even if it's traveling faster than its terminal velocity. That's a good start. The next step in our DIY space program was to head back to my friends in the small farming town of Gridley, California, which is the place where we broke the elephant toothpaste world record, where the plan was to set out a target mattress for the egg to land on in the middle of a field.
Smoke charge back here so that as we're like coming down from the sky, we want to be able to pick it out. This is the computer. Here's the fins.
This, by the way, is Joe, and he has a fascinating channel called BPS Space. And what makes him especially cool is he didn't go to school for any kind of engineering degree. He's all self-taught and recently even landed a launched rocket SpaceX style after 7 years of trying. Joe was in charge of tracking and guiding the rocket to the mattress using these movable tail fins, whereas I was in charge of the payload. In other words, how we would keep the egg from freezing on the way up in a little oven with heaters which would break away before we dropped, along with the mechanisms to release the egg itself. Release the egg! And the purpose of this first trip to Gridley was a flight characterization test. Basically, before we spent all the time and money taking the balloon all the way up to space, we were here just to do a low altitude test at 10,000 feet, just to prove to ourselves we could steer the rocket using the fins. We're setting all sorts of world records out here. World's largest mattress, fastest egg,
Yep.
tallest egg drop. What could possibly go wrong? Besides like 4,000 things. And so with everything more or less in place and ready to go, all we needed now was an official egg, which thankfully Gridley has in abundance.
Hi.
I'm sorry. This is terrifying.
Okay. Oh, no.
Hey.
Precious egg.
In the history of our universe, this is the first chicken that's ever laid an egg that will go faster than the speed of sound. Supersonic. Mach 1.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm leaving. Congratulations.
So the next morning we got up at 4 a.m. when the winds would be the most calm to run through all our final pre-launch preparations. Loading up our lovely egg. Including the last minute decision to add a metallic streamer to the back of the rocket to make it easier to visually track.
We've got redundancy all over the place here. We've got redundant leads, redundant igniters. Mark has 2 servos on the fairing. No dumb failures.
And that's exactly when we had our first dumb failure.
All right. The GPS is mad.
We gotta scrub the launch. We were just walking back, and the eggs all bloop, and it pooped it out. And scrubbing the launch meant we unfortunately had to release all the helium out of the balloon, which is an opportunity I'm not gonna let just pass on by.
Hello. Wow. That's so cool.
And back at home base, we ran some tests that confirmed our hypothesis that since the GPS unit was right at the back of the rocket, the last minute addition of the metallic streamer was interfering with the GPS signal, and that messed up the rocket's math in calculating its speed, so it thought it was time to release the egg. So early the next morning, we were back at it with a few modifications, the most important being swapping the metallic tracking streamer with one made from plastic. The good news is there's hardly any wind today. Bad news is about 20 degrees colder, which means our mattresses are kind of frozen. Nevertheless, we pushed forward. Don't trip, Mark. As I very carefully delivered the rocket to the new balloon launch site.
Send it.
Send it, baby! Full send it!
It's happening.
Should we see it?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Oh, there it is.
And while the whole thing looked really cool,
So we might be in trouble.
we quickly